What is up, studs, and welcome to Ask MandR, episode 344 of the series where I answer your questions mostly about LEGO Star Wars, but you're more than welcome to ask about anything you'd like to see answered on next week's episode down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and let's hop right into it. First question from Hortmania, who says, do you think LEGO would consider doing polybags for Star Wars like they do with Harry Potter? You could get some awesome mini builds with unusual minifigs, and Harry Potter is not the only theme that sees minifigs in their standard $5 polybags that you see at the store all the time. This extends to LEGO Marvel, LEGO Minecraft, LEGO City, I'm pretty sure LEGO Friends, although those are technically mini dolls, but it's the same thing, right? And so you can see all these other themes are getting minifigs in their polybags, but Star Wars, for whatever reason, has been confined to spaceships and walkers, and that has not changed for a long time. The last polybag with a minifig that wasn't like a minifig only polybag. I think we need to define what we're talking about here. We are talking about like a polybag normal store item, not a promo item like a Darth Revan polybag or a Chrome Stormtrooper where it's really like you're getting the minifig, right? Like that's the thing. We're talking about a minifig with a build, more like a Doctor Strange with his portal type of set. And it is weird that Star Wars isn't doing that, right? It is weird that there isn't a Emperor's Throne with the Emperor type of polybag for $5, just, you know, the equivalent of Harry Potter being in a polybag. There's a bunch of Minecraft ones that sometimes include 2 figures in their polybag, and yet Star Wars hasn't seen a minifig in a polybag build sold at a store technically ever in America. I think there was the Clone Walker polybag that was in Europe, but I also think that one was maybe only given away with newspapers. So LEGO Star Wars really hasn't had this from what I can remember off the top of my head. LEGO and LEGO Star Wars is very complicated, so it can be hard to understand, and I don't fully grasp why they wouldn't be doing this, but I agree it would be awesome. The first one that comes to mind, just because it's such a main character, obviously, is that Palpatine with like a chair, and then it's just him with his chair as a polybag. Like, that type of simple stuff, I don't know why it's not happening. The other answer might be because of their contract. I don't know. It's very, very odd. Anyway, Hank says, do you think we will see a duel on Mustafar diorama this year or any dioramas in 2025? I love the videos. Thank you, Hank. No dioramas this year. I just released a huge rumor update video. Check that out if you haven't. But that basically covers everything we're going to see this year, except maybe the like random October set that we've gotten for the past couple of years and the Death Star promo. Those are the 2 sets that I think will likely exist, but we just don't know anything about yet. Like, we don't even have a blank set number left to have a set filled in of other than those 2 potentially, right? So there's no dioramas coming this year. I theorized in an earlier video, I don't know if it was an Ask MandR or some other rumor video, but basically there's a chance that they're going to alternate helmets and dioramas starting like now, right? Because they didn't do helmets last year, and now they're doing helmets this year, and they did dioramas last year, and no dioramas this year. And so next year, if they do dioramas, well, then the trend really starts to take shape. And I'm hoping that that's the case. I think that's the most reasonable, logical way to approach this, because I think it's just releasing too much every year when you do 3 helmets and 3 dioramas and buildable characters and this and that and the other. Like, and some people are fatigued by it too. I've seen a few comments of people being, I don't like all these adult sets. It's too many. And so I think if you split some of that up, and you've got so much time, you can do that. It just is super unfortunate. At least right now, the optics are, you did dioramas for a few years, and then you stopped on a dime right before what everyone has been waiting for since you first announced them, the episode 3 anniversary, so that we would get Revenge of the Sith dioramas, like a Palpatine's arrest, like a duel on Mustafar. Like, everyone has been waiting for this for years, and they made one prequel one that didn't even include a figure. It's wild. So I don't know what will come of it. I'm hoping that my theory is right, that they are just switching to an alternating model where it's going to be dioramas one year, helmets the other year, and then on and off for maybe the next 5 or 10 years, or however long they can make that last until they run out of ideas or they stop selling. That would be my ideal scenario. It just sucks that the ideal scenario includes 2025 not being a diorama year. Peaceful Build says, do you prefer the old stud shooters or the new ones? If you're wondering, I prefer the old stud shooters. And just to be clear, the 2 different types, I think, are like the black rounded ones, and then we have kind of the gunmetal gray ones now that are more rectangular. And he says he prefers the old one. I don't think that's what I would go with. I think the new ones feel more in tune with the sets. Like, I think on a set like the Onyx Cinder I'm staring at off screen, if you had the rounded ones that are black, they just wouldn't fit as well. Versus these, like, they feel like more gritty, if that makes sense, and less cartoony. The old ones feel cartoony. I think that's a better way to put it. And they also stopped giving them to minifigs, which I think helps the case for stud shooters being a good thing a lot, because they didn't work very well for minifigs in hand. They looked really, really ridiculous. Next up from Jack Lindsay says, what are the chances of them bringing back the classic Jango or Boba Fett helmet and jetpack mold? Really would get a kick out of this personally. I think the chances are low, but the only real opportunity for this to happen, or reason that they would do it, is if they did a Jango or Boba Fett as an anniversary minifig, just like the ones in 2019, where they did technically bring back that Darth Vader mold. I assume they hadn't actually destroyed the Darth Vader helmet mold yet, but like these molds are, the last time they used this mold I think was 2006. So you're probably not looking great there as far as them still having it. So potentially again as an anniversary figure, but I think it's super, super, super unlikely that that will happen. Campbell Soup says, thoughts on the new Endgame set? Lego Star Wars fans have it rough right now, but I can't imagine how it feels being a Lego Marvel fan right now. And I find it interesting that people will try to like juxtapose different fandoms. Like, oh, people that are Star Wars fans are Marvel fans and vice versa. And, you know, they may have a slight favorite or a pretty heavy favorite, but even I love Lego Star Wars, and I buy and review some Marvel sets from time to time and enjoy them. And yeah, I don't love when things are bad. No one does, right? But I will say, I'm not the world's biggest Marvel or Lego Marvel fan. I haven't seen all the movies. I don't know all the lore. I don't know which details that I'm looking at are accurate and inaccurate when I look at this Endgame Final Battle set, even though I've seen this movie, right? I'm just not as entrenched in it as I am with Lego Star Wars. But I did notice that there was an outcry about this set, both on Instagram and Twitter, and usually the Lego space on Twitter is not that poppin'. I saw a lot of people discussing the set, and for lack of a better term, complaining about the set. Oh my god, people complain about a Lego set, who cares? So yeah, people were not happy with this set, and I can see where Lego was coming from with this set. I actually don't hate the idea behind it, like just showing the full scene of the portals where all the characters are coming in to fight Thanos there. But yeah, the set like just lacks substance. It does. People use this for the Obi-Wan versus Vader sets, minifigs on a base plate. This feels like minifigs on a base plate to me. Obviously, it's got a little height to it with the portals and things, but I can see where people are coming from with it. I can also still see why Lego made it the way that they did. Ant-Man was another point of contention, or the big Ant-Man. A lot of people have been asking Lego to go back to the minifig version or big minifig version of that, because there was an intermediate version that wasn't as good, and then they did this one, which is basically the equivalent of one of their $16 or $15 mech sets that people don't particularly love seeing here for $100. So yeah, there's a lot of complaints with the set, and I think the minifigs, there's a bunch of them that are inaccurate. I think Wanda specifically, from what I remember, doesn't have the waist cape, which great, good to see Lego pulling through on that one. I don't know why we got to be like that. A lot of people were not happy about Captain America's shield being a print without, half the print there, instead of just giving it a mold that's missing half the mold. Like, something that I, as a Lego Star Wars fan, if there was an equivalent detail, I would certainly point out and want that to be corrected as well. Do I feel super strongly about it like I would if it were Lego Star Wars? Absolutely not. But I can see where people are coming from with their complaints and desires with this set. Yeah, it's definitely and they've done this scene like 4 times. I don't know, like in 5 years. Like, it's just crazy how many times they've done this scene, and they just think it's going to keep selling, even though the last one sold apparently horrendously. This was the one that had all the girls taking on Thanos, so this was a bit different, I guess. It didn't have all the main Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Doctor Strange characters. They had to change it up there, I guess. But yeah, like, that's crazy that they're revisiting this set again this quickly with so many different characters again, I just thought it was super fascinating. Like, usually, I'm, again, very Lego Star Wars oriented. It's what I mostly care about. It's what I mostly spend my time on day to day. But, like, yeah, just seeing everyone that cared about this set or cared about Lego Marvel have a problem with it was interesting to me. I hope that it makes Lego designers, rethink a little bit of what they're doing, especially when it comes to minifigs. That was one of the big complaints. Minifigs and their accessories not being accurate. They got to be accurate. What are we doing? It's $100. Like, it's just that simple, right? It's just that simple. It's what I've always wanted from Lego Star Wars. It's obviously what people want from Lego Marvel now, and I hope to see this trend continue where people, when they see something they don't like, they say it. Alex H. Brick says, has Lego ever released a corrected, revised set after receiving reviews of a new release that pointed out discrepancies? And yes, this has happened, and this is why it frustrates me when Lego Star Wars in its modern state releases things that are really bad and wrong and inaccurate. Meanwhile, Lego in the past, and this specifically referring to minifigs in my case here, in the past they have gone out of their way to change out minifigs or fix minifigs, and then they'll put out a press statement pumping themselves up saying how great they are and their commitment to accuracy. If you knew everything that I've seen and know from over the years, you would have the same reaction to some of the things that you see that I do. Anyway, you're probably more so referring, though, to actual builds of sets, and this is something that happened a lot in the early years, and you can kind of start to discover this if you go through Bricklink and you go through some of the old sets and you see which sets have like alternates, and that's kind of where you can get some ideas of what sets would have had some revised models out there. The Slave 1 is a set that I just reviewed, the Jango Fett Slave 1. It has a revised version, but if you're looking at the exterior box art and you've got a sealed set, you can't know. They just changed it mid-run, and the instructions are changed. The instructions have a different number on them, and the build is a little bit different. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was due to reviews back in 2000 and 2002. There was certainly no YouTube and hardly a Lego blog out there. I think that they just got like customer feedback or whatever and made changes, or maybe they were just still screwing around with the models at the design studio and was like, hey, we should probably change this. This is bad, you know, after it being out for a year or something. The most recent example that I can think of is like the Wall-E set having some issues, and they had to change that set. They issued out replacement parts for people to fix like the neck. There was something wrong with the neck that I think caused it to like slouch or something. I never owned the set, so I don't know exactly, but that set had some problems that they went in and revised, and I think this happens probably more than I can recall, but the Wall-E is the one that has always stuck in my head from like 2016 or something that had an issue that they made a change to, and it was better. I think there was an Ant-Man and the Wasp set back in the mid 2010s as well that kind of had an issue that I remember seeing a picture. I've never been able to find it again, but there was a picture of a, like, I don't know, 1,000 of these sets in like a trash compactor thing being thrown away by Lego because all of them were defective and they had to be changed and updated and then remade or something. Like, I remember there was a picture in my head. I've seen it and I just can't find it. So if anyone has that picture or can find that picture, send me an email. Anyway, moving on to something more trivial. Captain Rex says, what is the best Star Wars set that had the worst price per piece? Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. So just to keep things easy in my life here, we're not going to adjust for inflation. We're just going all time straight up when released, worst price per piece, in which set was the best at that rate. Just looking on Brickset here, a lot of the top price per piece sets, like 40 cents per piece on the 2022 ATST 4 Plus model, 36 cents per piece on the Crimson Firehawk, 33 cents per piece on the Resistance X-Wing. So a lot of the 4 Plus models have the highest price per piece, which is certainly expected. And I would say they're also not the best models for their price per piece, right? A lot of the other higher price per piece models are going to be these buildable characters here. And I'm still not seeing one as we drop down below 25 cents per piece that I would say is like the best set for its price per piece. I think these minifig packs have to be at the top of the conversation here. I mean, you've got Luke, Han, and Boba Fett at 22.7 cents per piece. Adjusted for inflation, though, that's probably 44 cents per piece. That's probably double at this point. So just keep that in mind, given you're getting 3, at the time, top minifigs. And then the other one that's also right around here, 22.7 cents per piece as well, the Clone Trooper Command Station, I think I would probably put at the top, honestly. That's a really great... Better. UCS Naboo Starfighter has 21.4 cents per piece, which again is probably close to double that right now with inflation. So yeah, I think the minifig packs, or maybe that UCS Naboo Starfighter, because it's got all those chrome parts and look how cool it looks amazing, would probably be at the top of my list for best sets with the highest price per piece. Another one with a very high price per piece at the time of its release, 19.3 cents per piece, Geonosian Starfighter. If I was picking an actual set, the Geonosian Starfighter would be the set, because it's got the highest price per piece. No, the Geonosian Starfighter or the Naboo Starfighter. Ooh, probably Naboo. It's got chrome. It's hard to argue with chrome. Brandon says, are you prepared to be disappointed by getting a downsized MTT that only holds 8 battle droids and has a horribly inaccurate Commander Bly? So Toy Fair was last weekend. I was kind of hoping that we'd get a leak or something from Toy Fair about this MTT, whether it be the size, whether it be how good or bad Commander Bly is, but I haven't seen anything out there from someone that was at Toy Fair describing the sets, which is kind of unfortunate. It's, you know, sometimes it happens, but not this year, at least not yet. But yeah, I'm certainly prepared for it. It's what I think everyone kind of expects. And so everyone's expectations are probably down here. Everyone really wants it to be up here. It'll probably end up like here, right? I don't think we're getting, 2007 MTT Renaissance. It's probably going to have a lot of small pieces, and I hope it looks nice. I just hope the color scheme looks good. And I had forgotten about this until like literally right now. I hope that it's all printed, because if they use stickers, it's got light gray. Light gray is one of the worst sticker colors right now for Lego. They cannot match that light gray to their light bluish gray for some reason, and so that would completely distract or take away from the look of this MTT if they're using stickers on this one. Marvelous Mind says, who should replace Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm? Very interesting question. I don't feel like one that I'm particularly qualified to answer. Dave Filoni would be my gut go-to, just because he's been around for so long and seems to love and know Star Wars, despite, sometimes he gets things wrong for people, whatever. But I think his heart is in the right place, and that's what matters. And he would be a good fit for the job, just given his tenure. I'm sure there's other great people out there. I've seen some people say George Lucas. I don't think that's a good answer. He's probably too old. He probably doesn't want to. I would love it. I think it'd be a phenomenal, like, you know, few year run if he did it. It'd be really cool. But I also don't think it's like reasonable to expect that. Next up from Bill Nye 69, he says, I saw in another video that one of Lego's Ambassador Network's new rules includes no posting your own fake box art mocks. Thoughts? Yeah, that's a surprising rule. I haven't heard that one. So you can't make your own mock box art of a set, like any set, or just a set that's rumored. But again, this gets into the what defines a rumor. What, you know, it's very, very circumstantial, very touchy, like who decides what. That would be my initial reaction to hearing something like that. It also doesn't surprise me, I guess, if Lego doesn't want ambassadors to talk about leaks or push them in any way. That would be included in that. So it doesn't shock me that that's a thing. But again, it just kind of comes down to like, how do you define what they can and can't make a box art of, right? Or is it just unilateral, no box arts of anything, even if it's a set that, you know, you're remaking a box art of something, of an old set just to make it fresh and modern. Matthew, he says, have you seen the new Icons Lord of the Rings set for 2025? What are your thoughts, and will you be picking it up? Well, my buddy Chris certainly wants me to pick it up. He wants me to buy it so bad, because I will buy it, I'll build it, make a review, and then he'll get it after, because I'm not going to have space for it. And he'll get a good deal on it. So I think I will end up getting it. It'll make my life easy, because he'll probably want to build it for me, and he helped me do the, he was in the video from the Barad-dûr. He helped me do that one, and because he knows Lord of the Rings much better than I do. Even though I've seen all the movies probably twice, I just don't know the stuff well enough to do a full review of something like that. And so he helped me with that. I'm sure he'll be willing to help me with this, and in return, he'll get the set for probably free, because he'll build it and he'll help me with the review. I'll be like, all right, it's yours. My real thought, like looking at the set though, is it reminds me of a mock. It just looks like a mock. It's a weird way to describe a Lego set, because usually Lego sets are like fairly distinct in that they look like a Lego set. And I don't know how to put my thumb on that. The price for it, I think, is $270 when the rumored price was $200. We'll see what it ends up being. But yeah, I think it's supposed to be $270, which seems expensive. But like, yeah, it's Lord of the Rings 2025 set. It's probably a fair price. I'm excited for it. I'm just very excited for it. It looks cool. I'll pick it up and do a review. Finally, from there, hello, he says, whenever looking at sealed sets on Bricklink, I see the cheapest sets always being from Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia. Do you know the reason behind this? And is there a reason to believe vendors are not legit in some way? So yeah, there's a chance that some of them are scams. You will see scams on any website from time to time. It's just, you know, unavoidable to a degree. But it's a very interesting thing that you can see repeated quite regularly across most any sets. So I pulled up the 8014 Clone Walker Battle Pack from 2009. I've selected new and sealed as the only sets that I want to see. And you can see, starting with a store in Denmark, you're at $72.78 US for one sealed. And we've got one in the Netherlands for 73, one in Australia for 81, and this, you know, box is in good condition. Some of the boxes might have a little bit of damage. Brand new in box from Belgium for $86, and he's got 5 of them. And you don't get to the US until $90, so $18 more than the cheapest one otherwise. And there's, I think, a couple reasons. First off, the markets in other countries just might not be as ravenous as the United States market for Lego Star Wars. Just might be that simple. But I also think the shipping is a factor. Most people, if they just want one Clone Walker Battle Pack, aren't going to be making a bulk order from overseas, and so it usually doesn't make a lot of sense to buy something like that from overseas, because if you're going to buy the one that's in America and have it shipped to you, it's going to cost you the $90 plus tax, and your shipping might be $7. And so you're all in probably at $100 on that $90 set. Some of the international stores won't even ship to you. So this one that's the cheapest one in Denmark doesn't ship to America. So I can't even buy this one if I wanted to. And so that one's off the list. So this next cheapest one from the Netherlands, it does ship to me. It has 16 orders with 100% praise. So it's probably not a scam. If you've completed 16 orders and you've got all good feedback, you're probably not scamming people. You just are new, right? So you've got this battle pack. We add this to the cart. You've got your tax. Oh, your shipping's $38. Oh, so that's why no one has bought that. Because it would make sense. You would think, oh, it's so much cheaper. Just buy the one from Europe. But that's not how it works. So yeah, that's why a lot of people look at something and they'll be like, well, you're selling it for $10 and it's clearly $5 here. But if you buy it from there, it really costs you $20 because shipping's not free. That is all for this video. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button. If you have a question or topic for next week's episode, drop in the comment section down below. Jango Fett and Boba Fett out. I didn't want to drop the expensive one.